extremely good background to understand what are the stresses and strains of producing content. It's a very complex process. And we do one bit of it, we do 3 bits of that, very important for that process, to have all your media, to be able to put metadata, to catalog that media, and to give your creatives increased productivity. EditShare is a company that works in the media world, and we do centralized storage for production, and we also do production asset management systems, and we allow collaboration on-premise, in the cloud, hybrid, and we allow the whole world to work together, creating television programs, typically on media.
There's a lot of companies that provide centralized storage. There's a lot of companies that provide media services. What makes EditShare unique?
Well, our customers, I suppose, and our technology, of course, yeah. So we've always been very innovative. So NAB was our first show we ever exhibited to in 2004. Andy, our founder, came from the background of working in production, won Emmys for documentaries of Discovery and NASA, How to Live on Mars. I think I told you that before, Larry. Extremely good background to understand what are the stresses and strains of producing content. It's a very complex process. And we do one bit of it, we do 3 bits of that, very important for that process, to have all your media, to be able to put metadata, to catalog that media, and to give your creatives increased productivity. So that's the core of EditShare, if you like.
So what have you got that's new for us at the show?
We've got over 20 new products at the show.
Wow.
Huge release this year. We went through a major change last year where we've revamped the whole technology storage platform. Lots of new NVMe solutions at the show. We see NVMe now as a standard that is very usable. It's very cost effective. The throughput is amazing. We're showing 10 gig throughput to a single workstation of Resolve. Last year, we set a record doing 4.7 on our technology. Now we can do 10 gigs. That's a 100% improvement. But we've increased the performance, the capacity, and reduced the pricing by 30%. So I think that's a very strong statement of what EditShare is about, right? So that's just on the NVMe side. On our media asset management side, we give you unlimited licenses. There's no cost to it anymore.
Now, just to back up a step, NVMe is the high-speed SSDs.
That's correct.
So that's a hardware solution providing high-speed SSDs for storage, which is how you're able to deliver 10G to the local workstation?
Well, and our software, right? There's a little bit more to that puzzle, yes? We have the EditShare file system, EFS, that allows you to have different tiers of storage all working with one single namespace, gives you resilience and the performance. So that's a key. Each one of those workstations or each one of the creators has something called EFS native client, and that native client helps you to optimize. The way to describe it, a lot of companies out there on the storage slides, one of the USPs, if you like, of how we do this is instead of going through a director that controls all the data where it lands in each one of those nodes, of course, the workstation communicates that, but also communicates at the same time simultaneously to each one of the nodes to get that throughput. Now with NVMe, now I was very much talking about HD or spinning disk there. With NVMe, you get that throughput, as you say, because of the way that technology works. So we stand on the shoulder of giants is a good phrase for that. But you can also use the same way and get XOR, no single point of failure. So if you can lose a node or a RAID 6, everything you would expect out of very resilient storage. It's very expensive if your storage goes down. So if you're doing a production, you've got 200 people working on a production, and your editors, you say there's 50 of them or 20 of them, and your storage is not working absolutely, then you have problems because you have to pay for them twice.
Yeah,
and that's expensive, right? And then people get upset by that. So, this is a very good, a good way of putting across some of our performance and resilience that we have in our product.
Over the last couple of years, media's been under a lot of stress from a lot of reasons. Where are you seeing signs of growth?
I saw you, if you remember, NAB New York, and I started to talk about I started to see green shoots, and we've had our largest Q1 for 3 years. Okay, so that's a real sign that I think there's a bounce back. We've sold to over 23 different countries. We are a medium-sized company, but we are global reach. So we have offices all around the world, and we have sales teams and technical teams, et cetera, and workflow experts. So we are seeing really great growth in our business because we've just launched 77% or 80%, if you like, you can edit that, of all the products that we're selling today are the ones that were released in the last 18 months. Yeah, so that's pretty important. Are updated.
If you were to summarize the benefits that EditShare provides in a paragraph, what would you say?
Well, I feel like I'm repeating myself a little bit. It's that resilience, yes, and making sure that you have the streams. When you're creating something, you have very creative people, and they don't want to be stuck by technology that's not working properly, right? So when they have a very complex, if you ever done a film edit, you could have multiple layers, and all that's got to be played back at the right time, and you've got to jump backwards and forwards, and you've got to show a director that is thinking about the whole picture, and you've got to drill into a bit and say, what's the best view or what's the best shot of that? And you're doing that here today, aren't you, right? You're going to edit this, and you're going to see what are the best takes. Now, we had 3 cameras on here. It'd be quite interesting, yes? So we bring you that resilience. We also bring you a company that's been doing this for 21 years. We are totally media-centric. We do not sell into into different industries. We don't do oil and gas. Our storage is all built for the creative teams that are using it. So it's very easy to use. It's very fast, if you wish to have it fast. It's very resilient. And you can work globally. I didn't talk about that. You can connect into any EditShare and have remote access to anyone. At the same time, you've got the PAM, Production Asset Management, called Flow, and you have Media Silo, which is the overarching thing that lives in the cloud, and you can see all your assets, and teams can work together and build up those programs. Is that enough of a paragraph, or do you want me to do more? I'm sorry, there's a lot of questions you can ask me.
Are you seeing people moving away from the cloud? There's a lot of discussion about repatriation of data to get away from the security issues that sometimes exist in the cloud and trying to move stuff locally.
It's complex, yes, I do see that. I see that there's certain, I think I gave you an example before when we spoke about Germany. There's certain laws and regulations that they want to know where that media is. And you cannot guarantee on some of the very large cloud providers where some of the media is or some of the metadata is. The media may be held in a cloud center, if you like, that could be in Germany, but the invoicing, etc., may come from another center that could be in Virginia. And that technically does not meet the criteria of the law that they have in their lands, right? I have seen people spend a lot of money in the cloud. We have our own cloud solution called Flex, the whole EditShare technology stacks with AWS, and we're one of the 6 founding partners of a new solution they have. But I also see lots of people moving to the cloud as well, and I see lots of hybrid. So it really depends on the level of engagement and the professional services to understand what the problem needs to, you're solving problems daily, right? So your customers are solving problems, and it depends on what size they are, etc. We have some very, we have customers that have moved completely into the cloud with EditShare. It's liberated them, but it comes at a cost, yes? And you do the total cost of ownership, if you like, and you don't need to have office space in very expensive, such as not capitals, but in London, for example. If you have a production team and you want to grow that very quickly, it's much easier to do that in the cloud. You could say if you don't have a lot of capital to start with, right? But I've seen both, right? It's a complex. I'm afraid it's very complex to answer that, but I have seen that people do want to have a copy of their material, and we have a product called 60NL that we launched just at IBC. And that's 1.2 petabytes, and you see that they all have multiple copies now, because there are charges that occur. It's computation sum. So yes, I feel like I'm giving you a politician's answer there. I'm really sorry about that. But yeah, I've seen some customers, very large customers, reassess their cloud spend, right? And I think that's fine. That shows you that it's evolving, and you've seen recent announcements by very large companies that they're going across multi-clouds, and that may help them in the future. But let's watch this space and see how it evolves, yes?
Tara, thank you very much.
You sure? Okay, thank you very much, Larry.
Yep, take
Have
care.
a good show. Bye-bye.